week, uniting the country in our fight against the China virus. I've
July
reminded
23rd.
people of the importance of masks when you can't socially distance in particular. A strong message has been sent out to young people to stop going to crowded bars and other crowded places. Yesterday we made the amazing announcement for our plans to protect nursing home residents. We're working very hard on that. We're doing very well all over the country. And also about contracting with Pfizer. We made a big, beautiful contract with Pfizer. We think they're...
Yeah, see, now this mask thing is being pushed because when Trump doesn't wear the mask for so long, and I'm saying like yeah, I didn't even know Trump was going to be doing the same exact thing I was going to do, which is just not wear one. And then he's seen wearing it, and then now it's compromising, and then now he's letting you know it's a good idea to wear it, and it's not a good idea to wear it. It's not. However, you always got to understand that Trump's not just talking about a mask.
Very close, but we have a lot of companies that are very close to produce a vaccine. And I wanted to come out again today to share some...
Just like the vaccine.
Additional news with you. This afternoon, my political team came to me and laid out our plans for the convention in Jacksonville, Florida, for our plans to protect nursing home.
To stop.
Out to young people to stop going to crowded bars and other crowded places. Yesterday, we made the amazing announcement.
Stop going to crap.
For our plans to
it's another
protect
credit.
nursing
Just
home
yesterday.
residents. We're working very hard
we
on
met
that.
the amazing
Very
announcement.
All over the country.
Poor and stupid
And also,
residents were working very hard on that.
With,
we're going very
Pfizer.
well all over the country.
Beautiful contract with Pfizer. We think they're very close.
That
but
contract
a lot of companies that are
with
very close to
Pfizer.
produce
We made a big, beautiful.
I wanted to come out again today to share some additional news with you. This afternoon, my political team came to me and laid out our plans for the convention in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a place I love. I love that state. The drawings look absolutely beautiful. I never thought we could have something look so good so fast with...
I have a feeling I'm going to be visiting Jacksonville sooner or later.
Everything going on. And everything was going well. A tremendous list of speakers. Thousands of people wanting to be there. And I mean, in some cases, desperately...
Like 144, maybe, 1,000?
Be there. They wanted to attend. People making travel arrangements all over the country. They wanted to be there.
Nice.
The pageantry, the signs, the excitement were really, real.
The signs? Which signs? No left-hand turns. You can only make a right turn, but do not enter. And this side is N1. Notice that all the signs are on poles.
At a pole, they have poles on everything nowadays. And they got very bad marks on the job they did on the swine flu. H1N1. He calls it N1.
And this side is N1.
Today, Joe Biden gave a speech in which he said that the core of his economic agenda is a hard left crusade against American energy. He wants to kill American energy.
Noontime, same day.
He wants to re-enter the unfair, one-sided Paris Climate Accord.
No left-hand turns. You can only make a right turn, but do not enter. And this side is N1.
H1N1. He calls it N1. Excitement. We're really top of the line. But I looked at my team and I said, the timing for this event is not right. It's just not right with what's happened recently, the flare-up in Florida. To have a big convention is not
the flare-up in Florida. There's more people talking about it in Florida and Texas. There's a flare-up happening in both states. More states are going to flare up.
Right time. It's really something that, for me, I have to protect the American people. That's what I've always done. That's what I always will do. That's what I'm about. They said, sir, we can make this work very easily. We have great enthusiasm, incredible enthusiasm. Even the polls say about the most enthusiasm they've seen. We can do this safely and we can do it responsibly. And I said, there's nothing more important in our country than keeping our people safe. Even the polls say about the most enthusiasm they've seen. We can do this safely and we can do it responsibly. And I said, there's nothing more important in our country than keeping our people safe.
And security.
Whether that's from the China virus or the radical left mob that you see in Portland, where I want to thank Homeland Security and others and law enforcement for doing a fantastic job over the last few days. They went in and people were out of control for 51 days, a long time. And Homeland Security and other law enforcement with us went in and they've done a great job protecting our property, federal courthouse and other property, and most importantly, protecting our people. So I'm always going to take care of you, so that's the way we're going to do it. Thank the Jacksonville community and its great mayor. He's a great guy, really great guy. They wanted it so badly. Thank mayor, he's a great guy, really great guy. They wanted it so badly. And all of the other political representatives in Jacksonville and in Florida, and just very special people, a very special group, and they were there for us 100%. Very special people, a very special group, and they were there for us 100%. Today I want to provide an update on the actions we're taking to support the safe reopening of America's schools. Parents around the world who have had their children home for the last few months have a greater appreciation for the fact that teachers are essential workers, that they're essential to our children's future. Our goal.
You know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel, they went to a school as well. It was like a science school. It's a good thing that school opened up.
Protect our teachers and students from the China virus, while ensuring that families with high-risk factors can continue to participate from home. Very important. From the China virus, while ensuring that families with high-risk factors can continue to participate from home. Very important.
The teachers and the students are going to still be able to participate at home, because this lockdown is going to cripple America. But the teachers and the students will still be able to participate at home.
Our goal is to protect our teachers and students from the China virus, while ensuring that families with high-risk factors can continue to participate from home. Very important. The American Academy of Pediatrics has released guidance recommending that schools reopen. It said, quote, lengthy time away from school.
Lengthy time away from school. Sounds like, you know, how Richie from Boston's getting shut down.
An associated interruption of support.
Interruption.
Supportive services often results in a social isolation, making it difficult for schools to identify and address important learning deficits, as well as child and adolescent physical and sexual abuse, substance abuse, depression, and suicidal ideation. This in turn places children and adolescents at considerable risk of morbidity and, of some cases, mortality. Beyond the educational impact and social impact of school closures.
See, if they shut things down and it goes on for a longer period of time, it would be devastating. The Antichrist system would be in full effect, and it would just completely take over. And basically, you wouldn't be able to say, for the sake of the elect, those days shall be shortened. But because of the sake of the elect, those days are going to be shortened.
There's been a substantial impact on food security and physical activity for children and for families. The impact of school closures. There's been a substantial impact on food security and physical activity for children.
Food, obviously, is what we're being fed. It's either the Word of God that goes in this direction, or the word of the devil that goes in that direction. It's two ways.
Children and for families. So that's very important. And there's a highway, it goes both ways. The National Education Association recently stated, despite the momentous efforts of educators during the pandemic, online learning has never been an effective replacement for in-person learning.
That's what I like to hear, because online learning, I've learned online for the past 3 years. I feel like I've graduated to the next level of talking in person.
And support. Efforts of educators during the pandemic, online learning has never been an effective replacement for in-person learning and support. Being at the school, being on the campus is very, very important.
You want to talk about abusing the children of God?
70% of the students who receive mental health services do so through their schools. According to HHS, 1 in 5 reports allegedly having to do with child abuse. They have neglect, and these are neglect and neglected cases are submitted by education personnel. So people in the education world on the premises.
That's this YouTube platform right now. Just replace with what he's saying about regular school and apply it towards the YouTube world, the people that are in charge, the ones that didn't say anything, the ones that abuse the children of God, the ones that see the truth and turn from it. This is why when it gets turned back on, it's going clean.
Will be the ones that report neglect and other problems when they see the children. They know if they've been neglected, they know if they've been hurt or harmed in any way.
See?
Whether it's at home or someplace else, but they see that.
Or home, or even whether it's just being like severely gang stalked and surveilled.
It's at school. You don't get to see that if you're not going to school. It's a big thing. Fortunately, the data shows the children are lower risk from the China virus very substantially.
See, obviously the younger children are less susceptible to believing the bullshit, because you're not going to see us with our mask on out in public voluntarily. You won't even, in all likelihood, you won't see any of us with a mask. In all likelihood, you probably haven't seen any of us with a mask on.
When children do contact the virus, if you're not going to school, it's a big thing. Fortunately, the data shows the children are lower risk from the China virus very substantially. When children do contact the virus, they often have only very mild symptoms or none at all. And medical complications.
Yeah, because the symptoms you have is like, yeah, you get sick of it, but you're just like sick of it.
Are exceedingly rare. Those that do face complications often have underlying medical conditions. Those that do face complications often have underlying medical conditions. 99% of all China virus hospitalizations are adults, and 99.96% of all fatalities are adults. That means that children.
Wait a minute, what was that percentage again?
Hospitalizations are adults, and 99.96% of all.
99.96% of all of the children. 99.96% of all of God's saved souls. 99.96%. Just flip it, turn it upside down.
Fatality. Virus hospitalizations are adults, and 99.96% of all fatalities. are adults, and 99.96% of all fatalities are adults. That means that children are a tiny percentage, less than 1%, and even a small percentage of 1%. In a typical year, the flu results in more deaths of those under 8.
Oh, that's awesome. So my license plate is, if you just turn it upside down, it's actually less than 1% is what that comes out to.
18 in the United States that have been lost thus far and must be protected. Our sole focus
Listen,
is
sole
the health
focus.
and well-being. Names.
Our
Many,
children
many
need to be
names.
protected.
The life of every child is sacred and must be protected.
This truly is the reason why this whole virus has taken over, because they were looking for the 144,000. It's just an easier way to find them all because you can separate everybody too. Because 144,000 are going to be the ones that have no fear.
Our sole focus is the health and well-being of
Sole focus. It's a sole focus.
America's children. I have a very, very special person who loves children, who's I think.
So who in the Bible has like many names, like many, many different names? There's a couple people that have different names in the Bible.
To the coronavirus, many different names, many, many different names. The life of every child is sacred and must be protected.
But the coronavirus, he has many different names for that virus too.
Our sole focus is the health and well-being of America's children. I have a very, very special person who loves children, who's I think one of the greatest athletes of all time.
This is a race.
A lot of people say the greatest pitcher of all
So I'm
time.
here waiting for
Known
the
as
devil
a
to
relief
show up.
pitcher, could have been whatever he wanted.
It's
Some
like
people. He
10,
is the greatest
57,
reliever of all time
58.
by far. Substantially more saves than anybody else.
Said he'd meet me at the Rocky
Got
Steps.
the Presidential Medal of Freedom recently, and I'm reading off the Bible. He is the greatest reliever of all time by far. Substantially more saves than anybody else. In fact,
More saves.
he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom recently.
That sounds pretty good to get.
He is the greatest reliever of all time by far. Substantially more saves than anybody else. In fact, he got the Presidential Medal of Freedom recently.
See, this is why he said the picture he's getting ready to announce, because I know I throw my picture up there, because I'm delusional, but he also has to have somebody literally so you can reference an actual name to somebody and spiritually be referencing someone else.
And I'm reading off these stats. I knew he was the best. I knew he was great, but I didn't know it was almost double anybody else.
Yeah, I work a lot with this race. I've been running for a while now, nonstop. So you can call me a competitor, competing athlete, because I'm a runner. I race. I'm running the race.
But he's a man who loves, and I'm reading off these stats. I knew he was the best. I knew he was great, but I didn't know it was almost double
Trump.
Anybody else. But he's a man who loves children, has children.
I have a couple kids, stepchildren, my own son as well.
And loves children.
But I also have other children that I try to take care of too. Children of God.
Works hard with children. We're going to go outside and be with some little leaguers. Mariano Rivera, he's the Sandman, right? My wife said,
Notice Jesus responds to them by writing in the dirt. Now, that's a weird response, right? But John's really clear that Jesus responds by bending down and writing with his finger on the ground. And John tells us this, people usually miss this, that Jesus did it twice. So he's clearly emphasizing it's a gesture that's meant to be called attention to, it's meant to draw our attention. And yet, at the same time, it's strange as well. What is Jesus doing writing in the dirt? Well, you can imagine over the centuries, commentators have gone wild trying to figure out, what is Jesus doing? Why is he writing in the dirt? And
Why won't you just say sand?
With some little leaguers, Mariano Rivera, he's the Sandman, right? My wife said, darling, why do they call him the Sandman? I said, they play the song. He just puts the batters to sleep, and that's exactly what happened.
Shalom Chavrim. It is good to get a chance to speak with you once again. And this evening, of course, it's late this evening, I come back to you guys. I started a little bit of a exciting conversation between the people on Facebook when I posed a question today, and the question was, why did Jesus write in the sand? The other question that I posed to the readers there was, what did he write in the sand? As soon as she mentioned that, the Lord revealed to me that the reason Yeshua wrote in the sand with his finger was he was identifying himself as the very God that wrote the Ten Commandments. In him was Hashem himself. It was the very God of heaven that wrote the Ten Commandments.
He's the Sandman, right? My wife said, darling, why do they call him the Sandman? I said, they play the song. He just puts the batters to sleep, and that's exactly what happened. So having Mariano here is a great honor. Thank you very much. He was talking about children in schools, and there's nobody that's done more than you have. Thank you very much, Mariano. Fantastic man. Given these considerations, we believe many school districts can now reopen safely, provided they implement mitigation measures and health protocols to protect families, protect teachers, and to protect students. And we do have to protect the teachers and the families also. We have to remember that all families should be empowered to make the decision that is right for their own circumstance. Has underlying health conditions or lives with a parent or grandparent who's at higher risk. In cities or states that are current hotspots, and you'll see that in the map behind
In
me.
Caesar, risk in
Districts
Caesar.
may need to delay reopening for a few weeks, and that's possible. That'll be up to governors.
21 days, a few weeks. 1 week is 1, a couple weeks is 2, a few weeks is at least 3.
Map behind me.
There's a higher risk.
Dis-
Who? Yeah, that's exactly right. Who's in charge of all this? The who. Who is a higher risk in Caesar?
Districts may need to delay reopening for a few weeks, and that's possible. That'll be up to governors. The decision should be made based on the data and the facts on the grounds in each community.
The data and the facts.
But every district should be actively making preparations to open. Again, the children obviously have a very strong immune system,
Damn Skippy.
maybe even as strong as yours. They seem to be
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to have the same as mine. Trump,
able to fight it off and not have a
right? I mean, you just fight them off. That's all you gotta do.
problem. So, immune system, maybe even as strong as yours. They seem to be able to fight it off and not have a problem. So, it's pretty amazing, actually. Great credit. Our
Thanks.
strategy to safely reopen schools mirrors our approach nationwide as we race toward the completion of a vaccine and therapeutics. The responsible path is to shelter those at highest risk while allowing those at lower risk, much lower in the case of young children, to resume work at school, and as long as everyone practices vigilant hygiene and social distancing. We want that. We want that.
This is why you don't keep it locked down so long.
A permanent shutdown was never the strategy, which would ultimately
Social.
lead to greater mortality and irreversible harms. We don't want
That would be the Antichrist. the entire system fully going through with the next 3.5 years.
To do that at the same.
You know, some people think that when Christ was walking the earth 2,000 years ago, that the almost like the Antichrist was walking in a separate time period. And then the same with these days. The Antichrist and Christ at the same time, they're both up preaching. But the Antichrist gets a times and a half.
Same time, we have to get our economy going. We had tremendous numbers issued yesterday. Housing prices, pricing of housing up 21%, it's the highest in history.
21 days is coming. Man, it's like right here. I can taste it.
It's the highest number in history. Real estate housing went up 21%. Today, the CDC will provide additional guidance for how schools can reopen safely. I hope that local leaders put the full health and well-being of their students first and make the right decision for children, parents, teachers, and not make political decisions. This is the right decision for children, parents, teachers, and not make political decisions. This isn't about politics. It's about something very, very important. This is not about
That's right. It's not about politics.
politics. I even think it's bad politics if you do the wrong decision. Very bad politics. We're asking Congress to provide $105 billion to schools as part of the next coronavirus relief bill. The funding should go to parents to send their child to public, private, charter, religious, or homeschool of their choice. The key word being choice. If the school
Free will.
private, charter, religious,
Key word is being not the force of God.
homeschool
The God of forces, I mean.
of their choice. The key word being choice. If the school is closed, the money should follow the student. As a PPE update, we're in close communication with governors and states. We have supplies, everything they could possibly need. We're very strong
So you don't need to take anything with you.
on supplies. Remember, I used to say the cupboards were bare. Well, now the cupboards are the opposite. Due to our historic efforts to increase both the national stockpile and the state stockpiles, the vast majority of the states have 60 days worth of supplies on hand. And most importantly, they have ventilators, because the ventilators are very, very hard to come by.
When you get the breath of life in you, you now have a ventilator because you can breathe.
At least in the past. Now we're making thousands of ventilators a month. And this is, you have it right behind me. That's really very much indicating where the problems are. You see from that, it's in great shape, lots of it. The Northeast has become very clean. The country is.
The Northeast has become what?
It's in great shape, lots of it. The Northeast has become very clean. The country is in very good shape, other than if you look south and west, some problems. That'll all work out. On therapies, we've worked with Florida to ensure that over 40,000 vials of remdesivir are arriving this week. They're working round the clock to make it. It's had a tremendous impact. We've also shipped thousands of vials to Arizona, California, and Texas over the past 2 weeks. Arizona's doing very well. It's heading down. Numbers are heading down, I think, very quickly. Governor's done a great job. They've all done a great job. They've all done a great job, working hard. We'll continue to monitor the areas rising and with respect to cases, and we ask all Americans to exercise vigilance, practice social distancing, wear a mask, do whatever is necessary so we get rid of this horrible situation, this horrible disease that was sent to us by China. But it's a different world, and it will be for a little while. We want to get the world back to what it was, and I think we'll have that, including great job numbers, including so many things that are happening so positive. I have to say the stock market is close to records. For NASDAQ, it is a record. So, and we had to turn it off because of what China did. We had to turn it off, and then all of a sudden, now we turn it back on, and we're doing very well. But because of what China did, we had to turn it off,
So you're going in
and then
an
all of a
angle
sudden,
like a dam.
now we turn it back on, and we're doing very well. But it purchased more corn than any order ever, and that went on for 2 or 3 days, and soybeans and all. But it just means much less to me. Can you understand that?
Yeah, 3 days in the heart of the earth, belly of the fish.
Just means much less to me. Please go ahead. Something different. We have time. You know, we're talking about the end of August. But
The world.
I think it'll be something that will be exciting, but there can be nothing like having 25,000 people. We had a tremendous thing planned in tremendous convention planned in North Carolina, and it would have been very good, but a much smaller version in Florida. But then we saw what was happening pretty quickly. We saw that the virus was coming up that coast. So it looks like sports are opening. We have, it's a tremendous thing psychologically for our country.